very good afternoon to all the viewers from Global Hospitals, Parel, Mumbai. On a very warm afternoon, we have two very special doctors with us here today, and a topic that is of interest as well as importance to all of us, whether we are workers, we are frontline workers, we are not, we are humans, and it's been important for all of us. The reason of choosing this topic of busting myths around COVID vaccination today was that there is a lot of information that has been circulated across various platforms, and it's a duty of the hospital as well as doctors to give you the right information and guidance related to COVID vaccination. To start with, we have two very special doctors with us here today. Dr. Prashant Purade is Head of Critical Care at Global Hospitals Mumbai, and Dr. Vasant Nagvekar is Head of Infectious Diseases here at Global Mumbai. My first question to Dr. Purade is, what are the different vaccines that are available today for the people?
Yeah, so there are, as far to my knowledge, three different vaccines available right now. There is Pfizer Moderna vaccine made by Pfizer, which is available in US. Then there is in India, there are two types of vaccines available. So Covishield and Covaxin. Most of the centers are using Covishield vaccine, and there is Covaxin, which is also a live virus vaccine, and Covishield, which is a genetically modified organism kind of vaccine, and both are found to be very effective. Then there are other vaccines like which are used in China and ones which are used in Russia, which are not available to India. Again, the Moderna vaccine is not available in India because the temperature has to be maintained minus almost 70 degrees, so that's probably it's difficult logistically in India, and that is why we have only Covishield and Covaxin here.
Thank you for that answer. The next question is to Dr. Nagvekar, and the question is that what is the composition of the vaccines that are available to us?
Dr. Prashant has already said that the mRNA vaccines, which are the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine, which is available in the United States and to a certain extent in European countries. Then we have these are the mRNA vaccines. Then we have the killed vaccine, which is a whole virus killed vaccine, which is a Covaxin, which is available in India. Then we have the vector-borne based vaccine. These vector-borne based vaccine, there are two different types of vaccine. One is the Covishield, which is using the chimpanzee adenovirus, single adenovirus. That is again available in India. So in India, predominantly the Covaxin is a whole killed virus vaccine, and Covishield is using the adenovector. There is a vector-borne vaccine. There is adenovirus from the chimpanzee, and then there is the Sputnik one, which is again a vector-borne based vaccine, which is using two human adenoviruses, adenovirus 5 and 26. And then we have other vaccines which are going to come up, which is going to use the protein subunit, just like the hepatitis B vaccine, and that is, I think, going to come from Reddy's lab, possibly Reddy's or Cadila. So I think these are the ones which are available across the world. And there are many other live nasal vaccines trials, all that going on. But the predominant one which is available in India is the Covishield, which is the adeno-based vector virus, and the Covaxin, which is a whole virus kill vaccine.
Thank you for that answer. And to continue the discussion, question to Dr. Purade is, why 2 doses of vaccine?
So, it is all about immunity or developing immunity. Even when we get COVID, it is your own immunity. Why certain population is affected? Why certain population gets mild disease? Why certain population get severe disease? So it's the same thing. But in vaccination, what has been observed in the studies is 2 doses, 4 to 6 weeks apart of Covishield. Several vaccines, 2 doses of vaccines are better than 1 dose of vaccine, and that they produce a better immunity. And that is why 2 doses are required. Now, some population, in some studies, they have observed that if you get infected with COVID and if you take one dose of vaccine, that should be enough to develop immunity. But there's not enough evidence, on a large scale study, that this might lead to herd immunity. And all we are working out is towards the herd immunity, develop the herd immunity to get rid of the get rid of the virus. And even history wise, so many viral diseases we have seen that we give the vaccines at a certain interval, and then only you're protected. For example, there are several bacteria and viruses also, DPT, for example, or polio. You have to give certain vaccines at a certain interval, and that's when you develop the immunity, and you're protected. In the preliminary studies, this is what is proven, that 2 doses of vaccine, 4 to 6 weeks apart, develops a better immunity and gives you a better protection. That's why 2 doses.
Going ahead, Dr. Nagvekar, a general understanding of the population is, and that is one of the busting myths topic today, that if I am vaccinated, it means I won't get COVID. What would you like to say on this?
So I think we have to understand every vaccine has a certain amount of efficacy. I think the efficacy for Covishield or Covaxin is to a tune of 60 to 70%. Even after taking, I think 2 doses of vaccine, maybe slightly better, but that is what. So what does that mean? That means efficacy is different and effectiveness is different. So what do you mean by efficacy? Efficacy means that when I say 60% efficacy, that means if I give it to 100 people, 60%, that is 60 people will not develop COVID. Okay. So it will prevent a COVID. But 40% of the people, then 40 people will still develop COVID in spite of taking the vaccine. So because the efficacy is only 60. But having said that, even if after taking vaccination, even if you have to develop COVID, it will be of a very, very mild illness, and it will be self-remitting, and you will not require to be hospitalized. So both these vaccines have been 60 to 70% efficacy. That means preventing disease in 60 to 70% of the people, but 100% in preventing hospitalization. Meaning you don't require. It will not, or I would say 100% in preventing a serious disease. That is after taking 2 doses of the vaccine. But that is in majority of the people. Some occasional cases here and there may occur. That's a different story. But in large, this is what. So that's why that's a myth that you can. And the only thing is, in spite of taking the vaccine, continuing to wear mask is very, very important, because you don't know whether you're the 60% or 40%. And so, in spite of that, even if you have antibodies, also still you can get COVID. So that's why always wear your mask, never lower your mask. All of us are in individual rooms now, so that's why we are not wearing a mask.
Yeah. So that clarifies the thing pretty much, this myth. We'll move to a certain set of myths, and that is, I am on X medication, Y medication, and Z medication, and should I be taking the vaccine or not? There are 2-3 categories that we would like to discuss here. The first question is to Dr. Borade, that a lot of population in India is, let's say, on aspirin therapies for their non-communicable diseases. So, is it a contraindication for the vaccine? Should they be taking the vaccine, or should they not be taking the vaccine?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of population is on aspirin. Now, aspirin thins out the blood, right? But vaccine is very small dose of vaccine is given. 0.5 ml of vaccine is given in the intramuscular area. So definitely you can take vaccine even if you are on aspirin or the blood thinners. Yes, if you are on stronger blood thinners, you can still take the vaccine, but we have to observe for the bleeding. Or maybe in some patients we check the level of the blood thinning by doing certain blood tests, and then we decide whether to give the vaccine or not, or maybe stop the strong blood thinners for maybe a couple of days and then give the vaccine. So that is at the discretion of your doctor. But aspirin is a mild blood thinner, and you can definitely take vaccine even if you are on aspirin. No problem in that.
Okay. Moving to the second category of drug, and the question to Dr. Nagwekar is, I am on immunosuppressants. Should I be taking the vaccine or should I not be taking the vaccine?
So I think I just spoke about the efficacy of the vaccine, which is 60 to 70%. So when you are on immunosuppressants, ideally for the vaccine to be effective, it is ideal that you lower your dose of immunosuppression at least a week or 2 weeks prior to the vaccination and a couple of weeks after the vaccine is done. Having said that, it is not going to be both are Covaxin is a kill vaccine and Covishield is also it's not a live vaccine, and so both the vaccine the efficacy which is 60 to 70%. If you are in immunosuppressant, the vaccine efficacy maybe we do not know the percentage, but it may be 20, 30, or 40%. So if you lower your dose of immunosuppression, then possibly your efficacy of the vaccine may come to around 60, 70% as a normal person. So if you're an immunosuppressant, I would say whatever benefit it is, you should go ahead and take the vaccination and not hesitate not taking it. So whatever benefit you are going to get, like all patients who go for transplants, liver transplants, all they are immunosuppressed, but still we vaccinate them, whatever worth it is. So similarly, I don't think you should shy away not taking the vaccine. Please go ahead and take the vaccine, but check with your consultant whether you can lower the dose temporarily for some time. Like for prednisolone, if you can come down below 20 milligram for some time, will be a good answer.
I think that should be of information to a great number of people about immunosuppression and vaccination. The next question is related to adverse events following vaccination, and the question to Dr. Buradi is that there's information in the media that okay, Covaxin has more side effects than Covishield, and Covishield has lesser side effects. Your experience about this?
So yes, I mean there are minor side effects which, according to me, maybe mild allergic reaction or a little bit of swelling or pain and things like that with each vaccine. But I have not observed any major side effects with both the vaccines. To differentiate between Covishield or Covaxin, it's a bit difficult because Covishield is widely being used as compared to Covaxin. But in my experience, Covishield hasn't really developed any serious adverse effects as far as I know. Now, all vaccines do develop, body ache, fever, mild fever, a little bit of rash, myalgia, joint pains, a little bit of generalized weakness and things like that. But there is no major side effect. But these are all the reactions because of your immunity, which is developing because of vaccine, and that's what you want ultimately.
Thank you for that answer. What are the different trials that are going on around the world? This question is to Dr. Vasan Nagwekar. At what stages various trials are going on?
So I think this is a very very broad question being asked because there are huge numbers of vaccines which are being manufactured right from they're trying on live virus, they're trying on subunit protein vaccine, and they're trying on different companies. So I at least I know that there are 24 companies which have completed phase 1, phase 2 trial, and there are so many in the pre-phase trials also. So the number is huge. It's hundreds the pre-phase trials. But I think what has been 23 or 24 other companies which are into 23 or 24. So there are various trials going on ongoing. And in India, the Covaxin and Covishield both have completed phase 3 trials and into the market. That's what I can tell you. And similarly, Moderna and your Pfizer vaccine, which is both mRNA vaccines, have also completed phase 3 trials. And long back, they were the first one to them. Again, similarly, the Sputnik, that is a Russian vaccine with 2 adenovirus vaccines, also I think completed phase 2 trials and into the phase 3. Similarly, I think the Novavax, that is a protein subunit vaccine, I forget which company, I think it's Cadila, which is also complete phase 2 trial getting into the phase 3 trial, which is going to be quite a good vaccine because it's a protein subunit vaccine with minimum side effects which will happen. And the efficacy is supposed to be 91% and it's going to cover even the mutants and the other African and the Britain and the South African strains also. So we'll have to wait till June for these vaccines. So there are various trials. I mean, it's a very broad question, so I will not be able to get you there exactly.
we'll move on to the next category of busting myths in this session today. There are a lot of viewer questions that are also coming in that I'll ask related to this category. For one of the viewer questions is that I have received a first dose of Covaxin, uh, and the second dose is remaining. So second dose also needs to be of Covaxin, or it can be the vaccine that is available in the center that they will be giving. So specificity to if they have taken first dose of Covishield, should the second dose should be also of Covishield, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think if you take first dose of Covishield, second dose has to be Covishield, and it same holds for Covaxin as well. It's because, as Dr. Nagwekar had said, the composition of the two different viruses are different, although they produce the same type of immunity against COVID virus, but the composition is slightly different. And there are not enough studies when you give different types of vaccine, what kind of immunity you will develop, or you may develop or not, and things like that. But I think if you've taken one type of vaccine, you have to stick to same vaccine for the second dose as well, and the time limit, time interval which has been given to you, you just need to follow that.
Thank you for that answer. Next question is to Dr. Nagwekar, that I have received the first dose of vaccine and now I am suffering from COVID. So what about the second dose? When should I be taking that second dose, and should I take it or not? The first question.
No, so I think the question is that you are taking first dose of vaccine and you happen to get COVID, which could be in that 40 to 30 or 40%, and then now the question the patient asks me, this is a very routine question asked by the patients, ki, doctor, I already taken one dose of vaccine and now I've got COVID. I'm admitted, and now doctor, when should I take my second dose? So the answer would be, ideally speaking, you should be taking it after 8 to 12 weeks. So I would say after 90 days, you would take your second dose of the vaccine, because up to 90 days, the reason being, up to 90 days, you are good to have good antibodies and will not develop a reinfection or will not catch a infection. So ideally, the moment you're finishing 90 days, I think you should get your vaccine done. So anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks, but I would say 90 can be the mark where you should be immediately taking your vaccine schedule after that.
So this was one aspect that we discussed, that I have suffered from COVID between the first and the second dose. Another aspect is that I have just suffered from COVID. Now I am due to be vaccinated. So when do I take my first dose now?
So the answer remains the same, that if I've suffered from COVID, same thing, you will have good antibodies up to 3 months and you will not be getting reinfected, and that's what the CDC also says, and that's the same guidelines which we are following in global hospital, that anybody who is tested positive, having a positive report on his name, and if he's completed 21 days, then we don't require any test or for doing a surgery or getting admitted in global hospital up to 90 days. So we are no test, nothing required up to 90 days, from 21 to 90 days. You can just walk in and we get you admitted. So that the answer is up to 90 days, and you can get vaccinated after 90 days as early as possible. But try to be close to that 90 days.
Okay. Another category of busting myths of this session today, and that is related to the immunity. So my first question to Dr. Nagwekar is, what is the immunity that is triggered by taking these vaccines?
So it is normally the T cell and B cell, both the immune system will come into activity, and that is basically the immune system against the spike protein. Like every vaccine has got a different, like the genetic messenger RNA vaccine, it goes inside the cell and starts production of the spike protein. Similarly, adenovirus also, that is a vector-borne vaccine, also goes into the cell and starts triggering the manufacturing of spike protein, which goes and attached to the cell wall, and then the body recognizes the spike protein and starts producing antibodies. So it will, both the mechanisms come into action, but one is a short term and one is a long term.
Okay. At the same topic of immunity, there's antibody titers that are tested by various labs doing blood tests. One of the viewer questions is that if I have a good antibody titer after COVID vaccine or COVID infection, should I take the vaccine or wait for the antibody titer to drop?
So the answer will be, I don't think. First of all, you should not be testing your antibodies at all. That's what it's more of a academic interest or a research interest. But I've seen a lot of people having antibodies and still getting COVID virus. Second reinfection, or even after taking vaccine, you form an antibodies and still people getting infected. So I don't think first thing is not to do antibodies. Stop doing antibody titers. I would say go ahead and take your 2 doses of vaccine, whatever the schedule is. Initially, it was 4 to 6 weeks. Now it is 6 to 8 weeks, or whatever the government says. Please see to that you take your vaccine, and I can promise you that if you take your 2 doses of vaccine, you will not land up in severe disease. So the answer is don't do your antibody titer, and even if your antibody titers are high, you should go ahead and take your vaccine. Like I had COVID, and same way with Prashant, and both of us have taken the vaccine.
That clarifies a very important question for all the viewers. On the same point, question to Dr. Borade is there a blood test to determine the antibody titer after vaccination?
No, so I agree, with Dr. Nagwekar. I mean, you should not do the antibody titer. So it doesn't matter, you've taken 2 doses of vaccine and you go and check the antibody titers. I mean, the vaccine is supposed to protect you after 2 doses, after a certain period of time, right? After 2 doses, 30 to 45 days, the immunity starts kicking in and you're protected. Checking the antibody and thinking that my antibody titers are not there, or they are too low, or they are too high, that doesn't change anything. So you shouldn't do antibody titers even after taking the vaccine. The studies have shown that you're protected after 2 doses of vaccine. And that's the protocol and the guideline the whole world is following. So there is no point in checking the titers and maybe getting anxious after 2 doses of vaccine. Just believe that you're protected. And even then, as Dr. Nagwekar earlier said, that even if you're vaccinated, finished your 2 doses of vaccine, you finished 1 or 2 months of post 2 doses of vaccine, you still continue to follow the COVID etiquettes. Wearing the mask, keeping the social distancing, hand washing, and so on. That's very important.
So I think that's a very important myth that we have busted in this session today, that you need not check your antibody titers and be very anxious about it. So it's important for all the general people to understand this. There's a very relevant viewer question, and the question is to Dr. Nagwekar. With multiple COVID strains in picture, is current vaccine effective against all strains?
So I think may or may not be possibly the present Covishield or Covaxin, whatever is being. We do not have adequate data to say that whether they are going to cover all the variants. They may not be. Even if they're not going to cover, that does not mean that thinking that it may not cover, you should not take the vaccine. And 90% or 95% is the regular strain which is circulating. So I think it will definitely benefit you after taking the vaccine. So I don't think we should be worried about that part, whether it will cover. Because definitely, even if suppose you get a mutant virus, I can assure you that the severity of the disease will be much lesser. Same like the influenza vaccine. If you take an influenza vaccine, even if it is not covering the influenza H1N1 strain which is circulating in the community, your severity of the infection is definitely going to be less. So the answer to that is, please don't bother about the variants and all that. What is available across you, do not wait. Go ahead and take whatever Covaxin, Covishield, whatever is available. Just go and vaccinate, and that will protect you for sure.
Okay. Another question that is up for our discussion, as well as asked by a couple of viewers, is increased risk of thrombosis after vaccination. This question is from Nagwekar.
So I think there was a lot of hue and cry happening in Europe, and a lot of the countries stopped vaccinating people, or they stopped the program temporarily and then restarted and all that. So to give the correct data, just 2 days back, there have been 84 cases of total of cortical venous thrombosis, I think, and together with splenic vein thrombosis, total 84 cases among 24 million people being vaccinated. So the percentage comes to, I just calculated, is 0.035. So it's minuscule compared to the benefit of the vaccine what is being given. Now my question to the whole world is that suppose there was no COVID and there was no COVID vaccine, would there be no cortical venous thrombosis? Would there be no splenic vein thrombosis? Because otherwise also, I've just checked the data, the incidence of cortical venous thrombosis is 1.2 to 1.3 per person per year, percentage per year. So of course that comes to again less than 0.02 whatever it's coming to. So I think what the people don't understand is that maybe if the COVID was not there, COVID vaccine was not there, do you think there should be no strokes? There will be no myocardial infarctions. There will be no cortical venous thrombosis. The ICUs were all full with myocardial infarctions and strokes and all that. So it keeps happening. It's just that the number of people getting vaccinated is so huge. Okay, so and all those people presently who are vaccinated are all high risk groups. So you're bound to get some of them. So I don't think you should bother about it. The benefit is much, 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 much higher than this adverse effect, whatever is there, or may not be there. In fact, they are trying to, not even confirmed. They are trying to work on it to find out whether it is genetic, linked or something. So it's just that there's a saying in Marathi, "Kavla bashlani fandi tutli," I said. So it is just it's just coincidence. So I don't think because my answer is ki same thing ki if there is no vaccine, no COVID, the number of cases of MI, strokes and cortical venous thrombosis would have continued in the world. That time nobody would have bothered. So I think the answer is please go ahead and get vaccinated. That will protect you.
That's a very good example as well as a very good answer to clarify and burst this myth that yes, you should go ahead and take the vaccine and stop being very anxious about the same. Two quick questions to Dr. Vasant Nagwekar, and one is I have taken an influenza vaccine. Now, when do I take the COVID vaccine?
So normally, I think they advise 2 weeks gap between influenza and COVID, or if you're taking COVID vaccine, some people want to take an influenza vaccine. The duration of gap is 2 weeks. That is what has been advocated to have a better efficacy of either of the vaccines.
Okay. Another quick question, and that is I have taken Covishield and I have faced a dog bite. Now, what do I do?
You're trying to fix me now. Just now I said 2 weeks, so you're trying to find out you. So now, see, rabies is a disease which is 100% mortality. Okay, so if you are taking Covishield, should I keep the gap of 2 weeks and take the risk of rabies dying from rabies? I might as well not. So in case of rabies vaccine, please go ahead and take the vaccine same day, irrespective of whether you're taking Covishield or not. Even if I'm taking Covishield today, and if I got a dog bite and if I require to be getting vaccinated for rabies, I would go ahead and get vaccinated for rabies. Because rabies is 100% fatal if you're not getting vaccinated.
So these are two quick questions. On the next part of the session and almost the closure of the session, and the question is to Dr. Borade, your experience with COVID vaccination.
So I think people are obviously, a lot of people are taking the vaccines and they have been protected in my experience, but a lot of people are shying away from the vaccine, and that's not really good. People are thinking that if I take the vaccine, I would get the infection and that may not be treated, or I might get a severe infection. So it is very important to understand that the vaccine does not cause COVID infection. It is there to protect you, to build your immunity, to get a severe disease, as Dr. Nagwekar had mentioned. You might have seen people who take one or second dose of vaccine and they get COVID. Now that might be because of you might have acquired the infection before you get your immunity from the vaccine. Either maybe at the center where you've been vaccinated, maybe you're not following the social distancing protocol, or somewhere, when you put your guards down. I would certainly, tell people in general that please get vaccinated, because you need 95% of the population in the world to get vaccinated and get the herd immunity, and only then we can win over COVID.
I just want to add, I 100% agree with Prashant what he's saying, and same thing again. I want to make a comparison is that people don't get COVID from the vaccine. It is either you're getting from your neighbors or market or whatever, not lowering guard. But again, a comparison is that if the vaccine is only 60% efficacy or 70%, so 30-40% of people are going to get it. That's for sure. and the reason is whatever Prashant has said. But most important is my comparison is there are thousands of people who are not vaccinated and get COVID. There nobody asks the question. It is only this 30% who get COVID after vaccination. Only those are highlighted. But the 70% who have taken vaccine and who have not developed COVID, everybody is quiet about it. So always the bad things come into the limelight, but the good things get hidden. So go ahead and get vaccinated. That is the way to go forward.
Yeah. So, but before the closure of the section, two viewer questions, and this question I have to ask this question. I avoided it, but the question is that is Covaxin better or Covishield better? And my friends tell me that we should wait for the single dose J&J vaccine. So, Nagvikar, can you advise on this?
I think both the vaccines are equal efficacy. I don't think you should be comparing what is available next door. Whenever your number comes, please go ahead and take the Covishield. I was supposed to take Covaxin, but I went and took the Covishield because it was available immediately. So I don't think you should wait for anything. Just go ahead and take what is there. If you try waiting it, you'll land up in COVID or in the hospital. So please go ahead and get vaccinated. That's what. J&J's single dose is 70%. We have to wait for more data to come up. So we'll wait for that till the data is available. But till then, for India, it's Covishield or Covaxin, whatever is available. Get vaccinated as early as possible when your number comes.
Definitely. Another last viewer question, and I think this news has been surfacing over the last more than a week now, and that is I have taken my first dose of vaccine, but and I am due to take my second dose, but there is no stock available at the center where I have taken the first vaccine. So, Dr. Nagvikar, the question is to you: till what time can I prolong this till the time it becomes?
So the data is good up to, I think Prashant knows, is maybe up to almost 12 weeks you can wait. So almost 3 months. So I don't think you should. I mean, there's nothing to get panic. You're going to get your vaccine shot, and don't, because 4 weeks was there. Now it's 8 weeks, and up to in UK and London. I think Prashant will tell us better, because there are people they are giving as a regular after 12 weeks, so that people get meaning majority of people get their first shot. So at least the herd immunity to certain extent is developed, and then they're giving the second shot after 12 weeks. What's your view about Prashant on that?
Yeah, I agree completely. So, so the immunity is better when initially we used to say that 4 weeks is enough time interval between two vaccines, 2 doses, but now they're prolonged, and also so better immunity develops, and you can give the vaccine up to after 3 months also. And the new data is coming as and how we go ahead with COVID vaccination. And of course, the government is trying their level best to make the vaccines available to everyone, and that should not be the cause of concern. And you will get your vaccine, second dose vaccine, if you got your first dose vaccine, and even if it is delayed for up to 2 to 3 months, that should not be an issue, because that's what is the data abroad. UK has prolonged the time interval between the two vaccines when they also started at 4 week interval initially, and then now it has gone up to 8 to 12 weeks and maybe more. More studies will come as and how we progress.
Yeah. Thank you for answering all our questions, and we hope that we have busted some myths today in this very interactive session. Before my closure, I must tell both the doctors that we thank you for your valuable time and efforts in educating the masses. Also, there's been a lot of praise, appreciation, and gratefulness from various viewers and patients for both of you.